Welcome to the final part of this massively long review of Tales of Vesperia. We have one more act to go, and I'm just gonna say now, I'm saving the movie that was made after this game for another time because, well, we spent enough time as it is. So let's finish things. So somehow we survived getting stabbed and falling off a giant ring, and are now back at our own apartment. It's all thanks to Duke, who only saved Yuri just so he didn't lose Denomos to the sea. He also left us a book to read, before showing up, saying that the children of the full moon gave their lives to power up Zade and banish the Autophagos, while those who remained, along with the Intellicheia, ran the world from there. So Yuri at least understands more on why Duke did everything he did, but doesn't trust humanity at all because they brought about the Autophagos to begin with.
So, what are you trying to do? The Autophagos was too much, even for that ancient civilization.
There is a way.
You say you despise humanity, but what about us? Aren't we human? Why did you give me Denomos? Why did you cooperate?
You were the only ones who even attempted to communicate with the Intellicheia. That is why.
Wait, what are you gonna do?
I will protect our world, our Terca Lumares.
Hold on!
Anyone else getting a red flag from this? We run into Estelle and Rapide. Both are happy to see you alive again after falling off to your doom. And everyone is currently away doing things because they believed that you would not die. I mean, Yuri is basically the most hardened main character ever. He's the kind of person that Kirito wishes he could be. Likeable. Anyway, with what Alexei did, we obviously can't let things go, so we plan to meet up with everyone. But first, it seems LeBlanc has a warrant for your arrest, which he'll pardon if you rejoin the Knights. Guess what your response is? Run away! Run away! Run away! You rejoin Judith and Patty and fly over to Ospio to see that Rita's been busy with her research on being able to control the air better. She believes Estelle's power can help in reconstructing the air somehow, but also needs something else to work with. When we head to Dongress to meet with Raven and Carol and learn that the Union is still a mess, Rita figures out that they need something to serve as a core for their experiment. She decides to use an Apatheia, which Harry should have still since we gave Belius's Apatheia to the Don before death. But we can't have it because it's meant for whoever decides to run the Union.
It's alright to be helped by your friends. Protect your friends and they'll respond in kind. That was the last thing that the Don said to me. I can't do anything by myself, but I have my friends. Because my friends are there for me. I can do anything. They're still there for me, even now. Why isn't that good enough for the Union?
The boy is right. The best thing that the guilds ever had was their ability to help each other. There is always a way to deal with things, even if you aren't some great big leader.
The Don told you that from now on, you have to walk with your own feet. You know how to walk on your own feet, don't you?
You make it sound so easy, but actually...
Let's go. I'm gonna get sick if I have to stay here any longer.
So, not wanting to feel lectured by a kid, Harry gives us the Apatheia, on the notion that it was stolen and not given. With this, Rita directs us to Zolfir and the unactivated air crane there. She reveals her plan to create an air converter to reduce the amount of air into matter, or rather into an air-like substance called mana. The idea is to have Estelle recombine the formula from the Apatheia to transform it into such. This involves releasing the control formula on Estelle, but how can everyone help?
We can use the conversion formula we found in Zaude.
That was for substituting life for air. Your life! You can't do that!
But if this fails, then we'll all be swallowed up by a flood of air. We'll be dead anyway, right?
We're all risking our lives. Let us help.
So, no pressure, right? Well, what we get is an easy mini-game of pressing buttons at the right time. It's the only time you have to do this, as everything else is automatic from here. The process seems to work, though Estelle is showing signs of stress, and we get another surprise!
voice. Belius?
Foxy Horse Lady? You're a fish lady now! So yeah, since Intellicaea have wills even after they die, Belius reformed into a being of mana. A spirit, if you will. As such, we give her a new name!
The Splishy Splashy Watercolored Queen!
An ancient word for the ruler of the waters. How about Undine?
Undine. Henceforth, I shall be known as the Spirit Undine.
Hey, free items! Don't ask how she got them, though. Since she can only control water, we need to gather spirits for the other 3 elements. Earth, wind, and fire. Also, Undine is a part of Estelle now, so she's pretty much free from Alexei's little system. So as we leave, we witness the Otophagos starting to act up as Zade breaks down and the beast unleashes an army of those otherworldly monsters that we once fought in the desert. Even with the plan to have spirits convert air into matter, we might not have enough to turn the Otophagos into mana. Though right now we go over to Nordopolica, as that's where the monsters are gathering and fight a pair of breakers. Even with our new power, fighting just 2 of these are tough enough. But we're the only ones who can fight them since normal people can't, it seems. Turns out the creatures were drawn to the city due to them increasing the barrier Blastia's power. This confirms that the thing is drawn to high amounts of air, thus we do need more spirits. But would they be enough? That's when we get the idea to maybe use Blastia cores, since they're basically apatheia, and if we convert all of the ones in the world, we could do something about the Otophagos. This leads to talk about what might happen if every Blastia in the world stopped working, and how people may react to it. Well, there's not much to do about that detail now, so we should just get the other 3 spirits made. We convince Baul to tell us where some of the remaining Intellicaea are, since he's concerned for his friends, and apart from where Pharaoh normally is, we learn of 2 more. One is on the crystal island of Irulamin, while the other is in Reloise. You can go in any order you want, so of course I stopped by Pharaoh's place since he's the only one who doesn't fight you. He's pretty much ready to die because of what he did for us at Zade.
Zade is lost. The Otophagos has returned. Neither humans nor we possess the power of old. What more can be done?
There's still hope. There's a new power. We would like you to become a spirit. A being that can control air even more.
But to do that, we need your apatheia.
You ask me to hand over my life. Your heart alone cannot save the world. But you must have the heart to save it.
So with his death, we turn his apatheia into a fire spirit, which we name Ifrit. So we went from being a giant talking chicken to a giant talking fire lizard. Then I made the poor decision to go to the harder dungeon next instead of the Crystal Islands because I'm an idiot. Going down the long maze-like pathways, we run into the Duke of Questionable Motives, and we pretty much tell him what we're doing.
Reincarnation, converting air. You are trying to remake the world itself, all to solve a problem that humans themselves brought about. Such arrogance.
Hey, at least we're doing something about the problem we caused. Well, he won't interfere with us, but doesn't want us to interfere with him, nor will he tell us what he intends to do on saving the world. Instead, we get told to go to the spring below, and we run into Chroma again. It's through her we learn what Duke intends on doing. Since honestly, compared to her last appearance, this is the most we get out of her.
He's trying to exchange the lives of humans to protect the world.
What? Why would Duke do something like that?
He doesn't trust humans.
Guess what? This is the introduction to the main villain.
What? So yeah, Duke is going to sacrifice every human on this planet to destroy the Otophagos. Somehow. The reason won't be revealed until after we defeat Chroma, who reveals herself to be that one Intellicaea we've been seeing a bunch. She wants to test our resolve, since if we can't beat Duke, then our power won't defeat the Otophagos. Through a tough fight, we manage to win, and she accepts our resolve to stop Duke however we can, and she becomes the wind spirit, Sylph. Once she wakes up, she tells us why Duke distrusts humanity. During the Great War, Duke was friends with an Intellicaea named Lucifer, who wanted to coexist with humanity, so he helped Duke and the humans in stopping his brethren from destroying them. While they won the war, they feared Lucifer's power and ended up killing him. So while Duke was a hero in the war, he felt betrayed by what happened, so he resented humanity as a result. Okay, compared to a lot of earlier Tales villains, he isn't too bad in the way of motivation. Again, we had villains like Mictran, who was just a tyrant wanting world domination over the planet because he was just that evil. And then in Tales of Rebirth, there was Silva, who orchestrated many of the events in that game because she was extremely racist, though the calling of an ancient monster that feeds off negative emotions, that's a side effect to her plan. Duke can be compared to villains like Mythos from Symphonia or Van from Abyss, where they are fleshed out in a way that makes their motivations understandable, while still wishing to stop them. Granted, Duke wasn't someone we fought at all. He was like a neutral ally who helped us when able, but as soon as the world starts falling apart, he decides to step in and do something drastic. We've seen multiple kinds of antagonists throughout the game, all as a result of us meddling in affairs or whatever, so it almost seems a bit sudden that the mystery man ally is now a villain. Well, moving on from that, we go to where the last Intelecheia is and find the hunting blades here as well. Partway through, we find Nan, who has just been caroled.
We wound up fighting our target here. I couldn't do anything. Just like always. Master said it's because I had doubts. Doubts? I hate monsters. They shouldn't be alive. I still feel that way. But now, at a time like this, hunting monsters isn't that important. There are other things we should be doing.
Doing something else? Well, no wonder! You get out of here with that thinking and go home. This actually relates to the next thing I'll bring up about the hunting blades. So we eventually find Clint and Tyson, and it turns out Gusios, the Intelecheia we were looking for, was the same monster we fought long ago. There's also a ton of air here, which he tries to eat. But after Undine dispels the air, we learn another interesting fact. Intelecheia can only ingest so much air, otherwise they start changing and can potentially become autophagos themselves. So now we at least know where exactly it came from. So we fight Gusios for the second time, and hey, that's not your move. That's a Rita move, no stealing. After we win, Clint wishes to smash the Apatheia because, as it turns out, he knew all along what Intelecheia were and what they did, but sought to destroy them anyway because his family were killed by Intelecheia during the Great War.
The Intelecheia killed my family, and it's not just me. Most of the hunting blades have lost something important to monsters. No matter what happens to the world, my feelings for these things will never change.
The hunting blades to me represent the kind of vengeful group who want nothing more to do than lash out at anything even related to the thing they hate most, and are just blind to how this may affect anyone, even if it breaks the world. So it makes what everyone says to him next worth it.
Aren't the only ones who lost loved ones in the war.
But some try to be positive and keep living.
You can't save anyone, yourself included, if all you do is lash out in hatred. Instead, you should treasure the ones who are still here.
I think it's admirable to protect a city from monsters, but...
Don't just be pig-headed about it. Do it when the world is, okay.
Essentially, get your priorities in order and think about what you're doing before going off on a tangent like this. So we turn Gusios into the Earth Spirit Gnome. Are those paw pads I see?
Can't believe Intelecheia, who try to control air, wind up as autophagos.
People can't understand anything except what they see with their own eyes.
So after all that happened, turns out the worst thing in the world is people.
Humans. We're our own worst enemy.
Well, it took them long enough to get that message out. Anyway, with all 4 elemental spirits, we just need to convert all of the Blastia cores in the world into spirits so we can take care of the autophagos. This is a big deal because by doing this, we will pretty much be changing the world as we know it. People are going to be forced into living a completely different lifestyle. And even if we tell various leaders, it's possible they wouldn't approve of our methods. we would end up becoming just like Alexei in trying to force people.
I can't stand by and watch the world be destroyed. Even if Duke manages to save the world his way, it doesn't mean anything if there's no one left to live in it. So I don't care if people call me evil. I will give up the Blastia to defeat the Autophagos. What are you going to do? If you want to get off, now's the time.
I'm going. My life belongs to brave Vesperia anyway.
Me too. Pharaoh and Bellius left it to us, and I don't like leaving things half-finished.
I know what it feels like to regret what you didn't do. If I stop now, I'll really regret it.
Yeah, me too. I don't want to feel like that.
No matter what path I choose, I can take whatever happens. I've learned that on this journey.
So our plan will be to talk to Eoder and the other leaders about our plan. And Rita wants to build a device that will converge the power of the spirits like our own Denomos. And of course, since this is the re-release from the original, we need to have a proper closure to Patty. She's been thinking a lot lately, and it seems she has some unfinished business. Back in Zade, we found the treasure that she was looking for, the Maristella. It seems to connect to something, but she didn't want to use it right away. But now is the time. She uses it, and it shoots a beam that reacts to whatever it's shot at, and it summons the ghost ship. Now another thing I didn't show off was back on the ship, when we found the box containing the Apatheia, we fought this large skeleton creature called the Cursed Wanderer. He replaced a group of monsters that we would have fought, but it's apparent he's connected to Patty. When we get on board, see that indeed the skeleton has the other half of what treasure connects to it, and despite the danger involved, we're going to help Patty finish things as we are all friends. You might think this is the skeleton of Ifried, but nope, it's Cypher, whose name Patty read back at the gravesite.
Pretty sure Cypher was one of Ifried's officers.
Patty!
Looks like we don't have time to chit-chat.
Cypher, we're settling this here and now.
So she's definitely gotten her memories back. She knows that this skeleton was the deceased Cypher, who was an officer of Ifried. And if you haven't guessed it by now, as it turns out, Patty was actually Ifried this whole time. As for the Black Hope Massacre,
That day I turned my hand against many. Committed a great sin.
Is he talking about the Black Hope Massacre?
They would have only suffered more if you hadn't. Like the way you're suffering now. That accident turned them all into monsters, and you saved them.
it isn't clear if this was really due to something Alexei did, or whatever it is that happened that also led to Patty turning young. But otherwise, this is at least good closure to a character who has mostly been cheery, even if it felt tacked on at times. I still believe this would have been better as one long optional side quest.
Go on. Do it.
Bye-bye. I won't cry. Shedding tears is no way to pay my respects to the dear friends I've lost. I am Ifried, boss of Siren's Fang. So I will not cry. I will never cry. I don't want to cry.
With that all taken care of, the plot can continue proper. Rita finishes her device, which we end up calling Vesperia number 1, but uh-oh, what's going on outside? Oh, Duke did a thing. Also, he totally just destroyed Ospiel by doing this. So, according to the spirits, That's the Tower of Tarkaron, part of a lost civilization, and yeah, I guess Duke is gonna use it somehow. One civilian asks about us since Sodia and Witcher are here and want to talk to us about Flynn. During a lot of the evacuation of the continent, in which Flynn and the Knights went to help people with, monsters started attacking on the continent of Hypionia, and thus are requesting your help in fighting the monsters. With how defeated Sodia is, Yuri decides to scold her for giving up so easily. But I'm sure I know what you're all waiting for. How he took getting stabbed in the back from her before.
Oh, I'm not letting it go, but I don't have time to deal with someone who gave up on everything.
I haven't given up.
No? So why haven't you gone to help Flynn, even alone? You wanted to protect him so badly you'd kill me. Why won't you protect him now? You know, there's one thing I agree with you on. I'm a criminal. I can be killed anytime. Flynn is the perfect knight. A perfect leader. He doesn't need a criminal by his side. I'm just standing in until the right person comes along.
He knows the consequences to his actions, and he knows that such actions can ruin friendships if he lets them. But for Flynn, he's the best friend he could ask for, at least until someone better can come along and take care of him. Yuri really wants the best for him. That's how committed he is. As we approach the battlefield, Rita thinks of using Vesperia number 1 to have the spirits form a barrier-like force field as a way to defeat the monsters. Pretty much, if this thing can't stop monsters, then what good is it against the Autophagos? As for the monsters, we have to fight our way through to Flynn. This is a great grinding spot for getting your weapon skills mastered, since if you encounter Link like 3 or 4 groups of enemies, and then have Rita spam Tidal Wave while in Overlimit, you can accumulate so many points that it's outstanding. Rita is essentially the most overpowered character in this game, even after being nerfed from the original since spells were very broken in how they're used. So whenever you feel like wanting a grind, call her up and have her blah 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 everything to oblivion. So now we get to Flynn, tell him our plan, and he decides to help us out. He, Yuri, and Rapide begin rushing toward the center of the battlefield, and together they fight wave after wave of monsters. In the original, this would have been the only time you could even play as Flynn, and he had very little in the way of arts. So thankfully, he's much more usable here. Either way, you get some wonderful banter between the two.
Hey, don't go getting yourself ripped apart.
You'll get yourself killed if you keep watching me fight.
Come on. I'm just in awe of the great Flynn Shifo.
Shut up!
Hey, this isn't the time to get worked up.
I am not worked up!
It's okay. Don't hide it.
Would you be serious for once?
I am serious.
I can't concentrate with you talking all the time.
Well, I can't concentrate without talking, so we're kind of stuck.
After everything you've been through, seeing these two work together so well is awesome. We go and activate the device, and regardless of it repelling the monsters or disintegrating them, we are now done and can now begin construction of a new settlement. Witcher and Sodia come back and inform us that Tarkaron has some kind of formula spreading outward that's absorbing life energy at a slow rate. So that's what Duke meant. He'll convert everyone's life energy into an attack on the Autophagos once the formula has spread to the entire world. Now's the time as any to inform Flynn of our plan to get Yoder and the guild leaders together to discuss the future of this world. We plan to inform some of them, but first, Yuri has some closure with Sodia.
I understand why you tried to kill me back there. There's something you just want to protect, even if it means dirtying your own hands. You lose your senses in the heat of the moment and find yourself doing things you'd never imagine.
I know what I have done is unforgivable. It would have been easier if you'd blame me for this.
Don't flatter yourself. Don't think I'm here doing this for your own good. I'm not going to put the blame on you just so you can ease your conscience.
What should I do?
I have no intention of lecturing you about rights and wrongs. Go figure it out yourself. If you can't, go ask someone you can talk to about this, but not me.
Tough, but fair, as always. So we get Harry, we get Nats, we come back to see the settlement got bigger while we were gone, and this was without Blastia, it seems. Kaufman is here helping, and soon we tell everyone of what's been happening, and while some have doubts about the people, They soon discuss the prospect that this new world may have on them.
The Empire's duty is to prevent confusion and guide people to the future. Now is the time to reign for the people.
We'll have our hands full.
Making new things that will serve for Blastia. Oh, there's business to be done.
We have to think of a way to fight off the monsters without the barriers.
The Mercenary Guild and Hunting Blades won't be enough.
What about combining the Reformed Knights with the guilds?
Sounds interesting, but I don't know if it'll go smoothly.
Sounds like they'll be fine on their own. We just need to get prepared for the final battle, so of course we split up. Rita even goes to talk to Witcher about a plan to unite the Blastia cores together using the barrier Blastias in the world. Otherwise, Flynn asks to meet you outside town about how you never wanted to tell people about your accomplishments that would have done good, since instead Yuri tends to focus on the bad stuff.
Why do you try to bear everything by yourself? Do you think I can't take the burden?
You're carrying what I can't. I know I can do what I want only because someone's watching out for me.
But...
Forget it. I can't explain. I'll just yell at you again.
In that case... try it like this.
It's one of those fights. Put your feelings into action and hope they connect somehow. In the original, this would be the only fight Flynn could use his mystic art. And since this is one-on-one, the damage was pitiful. At least after he joins you again, you can use it freely, and it actually works as intended.
Didn't we swear on our swords when we were kids? We would fight to make people smile.
Yeah, even if we follow different paths.
Even if we bear different burdens.
Even if people praised us or hated us.
The knights and the guilds won't change, right?
There are places in each of us the other can't reach.
That's why we're not alone.
Best friends for life! With that, Rita tells us she can connect all the Blastia cores with the Barrier Blastia, and then have it connect with Vesperia number 1 to bring the spirits together and defeat the octopus monster. So, everyone has their talk before the final battle moment, in pairs too, so we know what's up. And of course, Yuri gets to share his with Estelle. These two have been together the longest, and Estelle has learned a lot from Yuri. Yet what's nice is this doesn't ever result in a romantic relationship. It isn't often in Tales games this happens, since usually you can tell when two main characters get together. But here it's apparent that all these two are just really good friends and companions.
I feel like I'm here doing what I am because it's my choice. I'm glad I came on this journey with you, Yuri.
Me too. I wasn't too sure what would happen when you asked me to take you out of the castle.
I'm sure.
The Otafagos won't kill us. We'll live on.
And I'll be able to stay with everyone. With you.
Thanks. I feel the same way. Let's get it over with, and live on in a future we choose.
Okay.
Before we leave, we decide to name this town Arnian, because of Estelle's reasoning, and it seems the Yoder gave Rita his sword to reconstruct Vesperia number 1, now number 2, which means Yuri has a new weapon he can use once the option becomes available. Flynn will also accompany us, and now we go and save the world! After a couple side quests, which I don't have recorded, but if you go in and out of the town constantly, you'll get some more events to happen. More become available if you did quests before this point, which is why I recommend reading a guide if you intend to get everything the game has to offer. But now we fly to Tarkaron. We can only land at the base of the tower, since the formula could harm Baul if we went any higher. We're protected because of the spirits, so long as the formula doesn't exceed their power, so we have to get up there and beat Duke before we run out of time. Now you think from the exterior this will be another stone-looking dungeon of sorts? Think again. Well, they did say the civilization was very advanced, but holy hell, this was a weapon? Hopefully we can avoid fighting Duke, but in any case, the dungeon is divided into two halves. The first half that you can get up until you reach the final boss, and the other half you can access after you reach the final boss. Meaning each of these elevators will only work once you completed their respective sides. It's certainly a visually impressive looking dungeon, especially once you get to the exterior parts. I love the impression that the sun is setting in the distance, like it's implying that by the time we reach the top, it'll be nighttime. It also makes the place bigger than it actually is. So halfway through the first half, we notice a barrier up ahead, as well as you-know-who.
You know how I hate waiting, Yuri Lowell. And where do you think you're going with me right here?
Damn it, Zoggy, how did you even get up here? Or better yet, how'd you even know we'd be here? And how are you not affected by the formula? Well, it doesn't matter. He's insane and he says the barrier is his doing. Meaning if we're to progress, we actually have to kill him this time.
Yuri! If you want to save the world, then you have to go through me.
Why? Why are you doing something so meaningless?
Meaningless? Oh, but it does mean something. This way, you'll fight with everything you've got.
Zoggy, I never thought you were this crazy.
You serious, dude? Well, whatever. It's fight time. And of course, it's this fight he starts using a mystic art. What can I say, but it hurts. Die, Zoggy the Dark Assassin!
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. I can't move. What a weak body. I should change my next body to a Blastia too. That would be more fun. Right, Yuri?
Yuri!
Do it in hell.
No one understood him, so he put so much meaning on fighting.
Still, his skills made him pretty famous. Something happened after he met you all.
He really looked like he enjoyed fighting. Maybe he thought that he could let loose with everything when he fought Yuri.
I guess. Though if anything, he had a far better exit than Lunaire and Zesteria. Well, after more puzzles, we reach the stairway to the final boss. At this point, you can pretty much go up and fight, or do any side quests that might have opened up at this point in time. For closure, I'm going to save the boss for last, and quickly go over some of the things you can do now. Like, by now you should have access to the secret island of Namkabanda, which was present in Abyss, and it's said to have some minigames. You can also start getting the Fell Arms if you haven't already, fight the Giganto monsters, which you could have attempted during the adventure, but are part of a side quest anyway, interact with the hunting blades and learn stuff, unlock the 100-man melee for the arena, and then later the 200-man melee. All kinds of good stuff. All optional too, but most exist to expand on existing lore and the like. My favorite involves Raven, since we learn he did have a lover named Casey at some point during the war, and I think there was even a drama CD that further expanded upon them. Then there are the extra dungeons of this game. The original one is the Labyrinth of Memories, where you go through a maze of old locations and memory versions of bosses you fought, while the new one is the Necropolis of Nostalgia, where you have to go through about 100 floors to get to another secret boss, and all while having a unique battle gauntlet where you have to choose where to go in order to find the exit to the next floor. After all that's said and done, I will say that this game's content is vast, and given its accessibility, might be worth your time doing. Of course, many of this can be better done after you started a new game, which is why we have the Grade Shop. This is a staple part of the Tales series where you can use the grade you've gotten over the course of this game to purchase benefits when starting New Game Plus, like your items carryover, your arts and their usage, gold, titles, the works. Any grade you spend here will get refunded after you've beaten the game again, So it is possible to use all of the options that are compatible to make your experience better. Also, I imagine the PS4 and Microsoft versions of this game have extra achievements for beating the game faster and all that. Alright, enough stalling. Let's actually finish this game. This is already about as long as 2 movies, so time to face the Duke of Final Bosses! When we arrive, we see he really is expanding the formula, so we come to talk sense into him.
Duke, we have the 4 elemental spirits. Their power can counter the Autophagos.
There's no need to use people to destroy the Autophagos.
Look at its size. 4 spirits are nothing against it.
They're crucial. We'll make up the rest by turning the Blastia cores to spirits too.
Every single core in the world!
And as a bonus, it'll put an end to the Blastia culture that you hate so much. Not too shabby, huh?
I doubt humans will hand over their Blastia quietly.
We don't force anyone to do anything.
Can you not believe that people can move forward and change?
Humans will not let something go once it is in their grasp.
So you won't listen. We will destroy the Autophagos our own way.
Please, wait just a little longer. The people are determined as we are determined. We won't let that go to waste.
And will the world return to its former state?
Huh?
Will the air be controlled by the Entelechea? Will all life return to a time when nature ruled?
Oh great, he's going all conservative on us. So Duke is pretty much stuck in the past, thinking everything was better back then and doesn't believe that people will change and history will just repeat itself. He also has doubts that the Entelechea would foolishly go along with your plan when you aren't even certain it'll work. So, no matter which way you look, we're gonna have to fight him.
But I, for one, will risk my life. Though I must endure the scorn of youth, I will risk my life.
So yeah, this fight's a pain in the ass. He likes to teleport after breaking out of a combo, and he can inflict all kinds of status ailments which will eat through your consumables. But if you think round 1 is bad, well now he decides to absorb the formula and become a white angel thing? I don't know. He is determined to see his plan through, but with enough of our power and conviction, we push on through and boom, he's done for. So that's it! We've beaten the final boss! Or have we?
What? What's going on?
Impossible. This is the Spiral Draco.
The Fell Arms are reacting to Nomos. And what's that light surrounding Duke?
Nomos and the tower are combining to restore the power of the Fell Arms. But how?
What's going on? Are these the Fell Arms in their true form?
They're nothing like they used to be.
We best batten down the hatches for this.
Now, the ancient king of the Entelechea will fight at my side. It is the will of the very planet, the will of Tercalumeres itself.
I don't give a damn about your crazy ideas. We decide our own sense of right and wrong. The rest, I leave to my sword.
You will not be persuaded, I see. Perhaps it is for the best.
So, remember how I said if you collected all the Fell Arms, you'd have to fight a boss to unlock their power? They made the 3rd form of Duke that very fight. Now, of course, in the re-release, the extra 2 weapons are in the Necropolis dungeon, which require you being way higher leveled than you would be here. But imagine you did this in the original version where everything was more accessible. You'd have a hard time fighting this guy since now you have no choice but to fight this form of Duke every single time now. I, of course, did this after beating the game. But when I originally played this on the Xbox 360, I didn't make that choice. So you can probably imagine beating your head against a wall if you were like me and did such a foolish thing. But if you do win, you get the unsealed versions of the weapons, which scale in power to how many enemies the owner has killed during the current playthrough, which you can use after opening your now cleared save file, since unlike other games, this doesn't force you to start over from the beginning. So with Duke finally defeated, Yuri tells him that while he didn't know a Lucifer, he believes that he wouldn't want Duke throwing away humanity like this. So we combine our powers and start synchronizing the spirits into Vesperia number 2. It does something to the Autophagos, but it doesn't seem to be enough. What else can be done at this point?
Lucifer, can this world truly change?
Damn it, come on!
And everyone had octopus that night.
Was this truly the right thing for us to do?
I don't know. We lost all the Blastia, and with that, the barriers are gone. But we chose that path, so I guess we gotta live with it. As long as we're still alive, we'll be okay.
You are strong.
Yeah, well, that's because I'm not alone. Hey, Duke! See you around.
Yuri!
Great job, Yuri!
Yuri! That was so awesome! Oh, man!
Coming back to this game, I wondered how much of it held up after so many years, and I can safely say it held up quite a lot. Now, of course, aside from some little technical issues regarding quality difference between this and the other consoles, the fact that this game has some really bad lip flap issues, and a few other minor things I might have brought up, the game itself has a really sound storyline, where events play off each other, and all for the purpose of showcasing a journey of friends, whose actions have a major impact on the world as one thing leads right into another. A lot of the character development in this is also very varied from other games, since it covers what actions can do to others when you're committing crimes against others on an active basis, what can happen when your sense of justice gets people to doubt you, and what happens when you start giving up, and what comes of it. They're handled in often mature ways that can be related to real life, just as how games before have brought up what discrimination and persecution can do to civilizations, and what it means to be alive. Maybe those games have handled their themes better with better emphasis on story, since with how this was structured, I couldn't put this one above Abyss or Symphonia, but it's still up there given the strong character development, the amazing gameplay, and the awesome graphics that even now still look good compared to what would come after. Sure, games like Xillia, or either of the games that are or involve Zestiria, would do their own thing with the character models and artwork, But Vesperia's style will always be special to me, as it was the one style closest to anime, and them doing it right. Now with JRPGs, the length of Tales games tends to exceed at least 30 hours for the main story, and then go up and beyond 40 hours if you did any side questing, and these days people prefer games with fewer hours needed to complete, mostly because they don't have as much time to play story-intensive games. With it being on Switch, you at least have the benefit of taking this game with you wherever you go, and can spend the time you have at home playing another game on the side, especially since Vesperia does at least look good even in handheld mode, though the best quality is when docked. Overall, this is a game you should definitely play if you're a Tales fan, or are interested in getting into the series. With stellar graphics and an equally stellar cast, this is one tale that should not be overlooked. I'm the Media Hunter, and I thank you all for sticking through this journey.
I am so gonna make you hurt! I, who stand in the full light of the heavens, call upon thee who openeth the gates of hell. Come forth, divine lightning! This ends now! Indignation!
No, impossible. I'm gonna pound you!